Is how are you a good question to ask if you really want to know how people are doing? Keep watching this video to learn how you can get honest responses from your colleagues, subordinates, and friends as to how they're doing. Hi, I'm Keiko from English-Empowered. How are you is a super common greeting in the United States. We use it all the time when we bump into friends on the street, when we see colleagues in the office in the morning, at the beginning of a meeting. We say this without even thinking. And people who answer, how are you? They answer without thinking as well. Hey, how are you? Good, and you? But what if you really want to know how your friends or colleagues are doing? What if you want more than the automatic, I'm good, I'm fine? During the COVID-19 pandemic, openly talking about mental health became more important than ever. We were all working remotely, being isolated from each other, and we didn't even know when it was going to be over. Many people struggled. This led to a lot of conversations about how people could check in on each other and support each other's well-being. Well, things are not exactly the same anymore, but the topic of mental health is still very important. Your team members might be feeling stressed and overwhelmed. They might be going through some personal issues, or they might be experiencing some kind of blues. For whatever reason, it happens to all of us. If you know that your friends or colleagues or subordinates are going through tough times, you can do something about it. And this is particularly important if you are a leader. Then how can we show them that we actually care and give them a chance to talk about it? The answer is not, how are you? We have to ask better questions. I'll share with you 3 alternative questions you can ask. Number 1, start with your regular, how are you? And then follow up with, are you sure? You say your regular, how are you, to your colleague, and then they say, I'm fine. If their nonverbal communication doesn't match their verbal message, like they avoid their eye contact or their voice tone doesn't really sound fine, you can ask them, are you sure? Usually, people who ask, how are you, don't really pay attention to the answer and then just move on. So if you ask them, are you sure? It might surprise the other person. But then they might start telling you, actually, not that great. I have so much to do and I'm feeling overwhelmed. Number 2, how are you doing really? By adding this really, you show the other person that you really want to know. You want more than the surface level, good, fine. You are asking them, are there any concerns? Are there any emotions that they haven't gotten a chance to express? When you say this question, show that you care with your voice. Like, how are you doing really? Okay, show them that you're genuinely interested and you want to be there for them. Number 3, if you know that the other person is going through a challenge, establish that fact first and then ask them, how are you holding up? How are you holding up is a question you can ask when you know that the other person is having a difficulty, they're going through some tough times, and you want to know how they're managing. For example, you might say, I know it's crunch time and you've been working long hours. How are you holding up? Or it might be about something more personal, like, I heard that your dad is having a surgery. How are you holding up? So these are all great questions to ask if you want to go a little bit deeper than your regular, how are you? I'm good. But one thing to keep in mind, if the other person keeps saying, I'm good, I'm really fine, don't push it. Maybe they are fine, maybe they're not, but it's their choice to share or not. But by asking these questions instead of how are you, you're giving them a chance to talk about it if they want to, and that's important. So again, if you really want to know how your colleagues, subordinates, or friends are doing, don't just say, how are you? And then move on. Ask the questions that I showed you today to get their honest answers. The questions are, how are you? Are you sure? How are you doing really? Context, and then how are you holding up? When you ask these questions, you show the other person that you care about them, that you really want to know how they're doing, and you want to be there for them. I hope you find this video helpful. Leave me a comment or send me a message if you have any requests for future videos. Thanks for watching. See you next time.